Hey gang, it's Haya. Welcome back. Today I'm coming to you live from our pilot school in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm actually in our big girls classroom right now. They are out doing some other things, so I have borrowed their room because it's a nice, quiet place in the middle of a busy workday that I can stop and share some very, very important things with you about our goals in 2020. Now, I don't know about you, but I have set goals that are big enough to rock my world. That is for sure. They are scary, hairy, crazy dreams. And when I let myself go down that path enough, I can actually start to freak out because I'm thinking, who in their right mind would set goals like this? But you know what? I know I'm on the right path, and something tells me that I'm not the only one. I have a feeling that you also have dreams that are exciting you and terrifying you all at the same time. So I'd like to share some things with you today that I think are really gonna help us make sure that we can not just dream about these goals and have it become one more year like all the rest where we set goals and miss goals and set goals and miss goals, but I want us to actually achieve these goals this year. So first, what I'm going to do for a measure of accountability, I'm going to share my goals with you. Then I'm going to share with you 5 tips that I think are going to help us make sure that we can nail these goals in the new year and across the coming 12 months. Are you ready? Let's hop in. Okay, so my first goal for this year is I have to finish learning Hebrew. I started learning Hebrew about 6 or 7 years ago as I was first becoming connected to my own Jewish roots and the background and the last 5,000 years of Jewish history on the planet. And I really started digging into it because I wanted to be able to read the Bible for myself. I wanted to be able to go to the original Hebrew language, the original script that our holy words were written in, and I wanted to look at it and be able to decipher it myself, as opposed to just always counting on translation after translation after translation. And a lot of times those translations are not accurate. A lot of times they have, for political and propaganda reasons, they've actually been changed quite significantly. And so the more I dug, the more I learned. I wanted to be able to have my own connection with my Creator, and I wanted to be able to see His original love letter to us. So that's why I first originally started to learn Hebrew. Then a couple of years later, I actually married into an Israeli family, and all the conversation around me all the time is in Hebrew. So it became something that was actually a little bit easier for me to do, to start speaking and understanding a little bit of Hebrew. And I set a goal about 5 years ago, actually, that I said, I've got other things to do, I'll get to it. So I said by my son's bar mitzvah, that was my goal, that I would learn Hebrew. And I would be fluent and conversational, not just in old biblical Hebrew, but in modern day Hebrew. Well, here we go, time flies. My son's bar mitzvah is in a year from now, so I gotta get to it. So number 1 goal is to finish learning Hebrew. Okay, second goal is to finish 2 books. I have started 2 books. One of them is about 60% finished, and one of them is about 80% finished. So my goal is to finish those books and get them published this year. Whether they are going to be published by someone else or self-published, I actually don't have a preference on either one of those. For me, this is not my breakout into the world. I'm not counting on it to make my career. It's just something that I want to do for myself. One of them is a children's book, and one of them is a book about a tiny piece of my own life story. So I'm going to get those out, and if nothing else, it is going to be something for my children and children's children down the road. So that's number 2, is to finish those 2 books. Number 3, my third goal is a physical fitness goal. I have a goal to break certain physical limitations and barriers that have been sort of defining my life over the last 40 years. One of them is I have a goal to be able to do push-ups. Now not push-ups, pull-ups. Y'all have heard me talking about this forever. I have zero, I'm such a weenie when it comes to the upper body strength. I can do push-ups and I can do, arm exercises, but to actually pull my own body weight up, I learned a while back that it's actually mostly a brain connection because my brain has never done those things before. It's like a brain synapse thing that I have to rewire that piece of my brain, because then the physical muscles are there, but my brain doesn't know what to do. So I have a goal that by the end of this year, I'm gonna be able to do 6 full consecutive push-ups. Now, I have to tell you, it's quite comical. Right now, I can do nothing more than literally hang from the bar. No joke, it's the most embarrassing, hilarious thing you could ever see. And no, I'm not gonna show you, but I'm just hanging there. So my goal is to be able to do 6 consecutive pull-ups by the end of the year. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 4, my 4th goal is to get our school funded. So you know that we're now in the 2nd year of our pilot school, and we are in the process right now of launching the greater school system, the global school system. And really the most important thing that I can do this year is to recruit the advisory council. So my goal for this is to recruit all of the A-listers, the celebrities, the Fortune 100 CEOs, and the entrepreneurial, heroes and champions in the world that have spent a lot of time talking about everything that's wrong with education, and they have put together a lot of great ideas they have shared in their books, on their TED Talks, in their videos, on their YouTube channels, lots of brilliant things that they believe are important for us to be able to revolutionize education. So my goal is to now put their feet to the fire, to approach them and invite them to put their money where their mouth is, and to become a part of our advisory council to really launch the LIFE school system the right way. So LIFE stands for Leadership Through Innovation, Forward Thinking, and Excellence. So I'm going to ask them to get behind our mission and help us bring it to life. So how will I know if I have hit that goal? If by the end of the year, I have their names signed to paper. And later on, probably in the next couple of weeks, I will actually share with you my goal of who those people are. And I would love to get your input if you think that we should add anybody else to the advisory council. And then last but not least, my final goal for this year, number 5, is to officially launch our food company. I have a dream of making a plant-based foods company that is totally clean, as in with no additives, nothing that I would not want to put for my own family in the food, something that you can pronounce every word on the package, and something that is no additives and no things that are just not good for your system, but to make it so delicious that nobody can believe that they're actually good for you. It's something that I would actually feel confident enough to serve at our own school, and something that is affordable. Okay, now we have my 5 goals. I want you to share yours as well. If you don't have to share them with me necessarily, but make sure that you are sharing them so that you remember them and that they roll off your tongue just like what I shared with you. Okay, now, here we go. Our 5 steps, I'm going to share with you 5 specific steps to make sure that these goals come to fruition. Tip number 1, the goal has to be big enough to stretch you. Okay? If it's just this little thing that you don't really care about, it's not going to be inspiring. It has got to be big enough that it stretches you and that it moves you out of your comfort zone. Why is that important? Because honestly, that's where God shows up. We were not designed to live inside a comfort zone. We weren't designed to live just inside of that safe zone. And one of the things that I have learned throughout the course of my own life is that God plants those dreams for us outside of our comfort zone, because that's where He is waiting for us. That's where He is waiting to connect with us. And yes, it's terrifying to go there and to do that, because in order to do that, we've got to climb over the fence of fear to get past that threshold. And it's very, very terrifying. And one of the things that I have learned is that as you start to climb that ladder, everybody else that currently exists and lives within your comfort zone starts to get pull onto your ankles with a death grip to bring you back down from that ladder to stay right around them. Why? Because it makes them feel better and they don't have to question their own comfort zone if you stay with them. So if you stay around them, then everyone else is safe. They can feel safe, you feel safe. Nobody has to do scary things like pursue their dreams. Nobody has to develop any courage. Nobody has to work on any personal growth or professional development. And we can all just stay mediocre. Okay, so you have to be prepared for that and understand that these are the laws of life that are happening in your world as you prepare to climb that fence of fear. So that goal has to be big enough to stretch you and to give you fuel as you start on this journey, okay? Number 2, the goal has to be real enough to drive you. It has to be real enough to drive you. So it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, and it has to be memorable. So let me give you a few examples of what is not memorable, measurable, specific, okay? I want to be healthy. Okay, everybody wants to be healthy. Well, that's not true. A lot of people say they want to be healthy, but what does that mean? Healthy means something different to different people. Does it mean that you want to lose weight? Does it mean that you want to stop eating garbage? Does it mean that you want to start exercising? Does it mean that you want to really evaluate the type of food that you're eating, why you're eating it? What does it mean for you? Does it mean that you want to sleep more? Does it mean that you want to get into a good schedule, a good physical routine? Does it mean that you want to try to stop maybe taking so many medications? What does healthy mean? Okay, so be healthy is not a good goal. It is a good start, but it is not where you want to stop with your goal setting process. Okay, same thing with I want to spend more time with my family, or I want to, get a grip on my time management, or I want to get a grip on my money management. We've got to be specific, measurable, and memorable, which means that you've got to set dates, you've got to set parameters, you've got to go back. Can you clearly be able to tell whether or not you hit that goal when the year comes to an end? Step number 3, to help make sure that we are accomplishing our goals this year, beware of Debbie Downer. Wah, wah. What is Debbie Downer? This means all of those people in your life that are going to poo-poo on your parade. So there are a lot of people in your life that they consider themselves to be realists. Okay, in my opinion, a realist is just a nice way of saying a pessimist. You know that it is very, very true that what you think about, you speak about, what you speak about, you bring about. The law of attraction is no joke. Now, it's not the only law in the universe, because there's also the law of action, which means you got to get off your bum and actually do the work. And then there is the law of gestation, which means there's a certain amount of time in the universe that it takes things, this is ordained from above, that God is going to tell you when these things are to come to fruition in your life. Okay, but that's where the old saying comes in, that you work as if it's all up to you and you pray as if it's all up to God. You do the work and then you leave the results in the hands of heaven. Okay, but the part that most people miss is that you got to actually do the work, and then the part that goes ahead of that is setting your intentions and locking into them so clearly that nothing can move you or shake you off of that center. There are a lot of Debbie Downers in our life, a lot of people that are negative and skeptical. So here's what I want to tell you about that. We have to flip our mindset. As opposed to being susceptible and riding this emotional roller coaster whenever people are giving us their feedback, okay, what we have to decide is that that skepticism and that criticism, that is fuel for us. And the haters, we eat them every day like vitamins. Okay, so the haters are vitamins for us, and the skepticism and the criticism is fuel to drive us forward. So it doesn't mean that our goals and even our mood and our energy is susceptible to them. Just because people are spewing it out doesn't mean that you have to take it. It doesn't mean that you have to absorb it. Okay, so this also means that you probably want to protect your dream this year, and you want to spend your quality time with people that are going to invest in you and that are going to believe in you and support you in the right direction. Now, if you live under the same roof as these people, there's not always a lot that you can do about that, but you can choose what you talk about with them, and you can make sure that you share that dream only with people that are going to cheer you forward. Everybody needs a cheering squad. There's no question about it. Okay. Tip number 4, you cannot change what you do not know, and you do not know what you do not track. Now, my clients and team members and students have been hearing this from me for years, and I know they say it in their sleep, so I'm going to say it to you again. You cannot change what you do not know, and you do not know what you do not track. One more time, because I hope that you're writing this down. You cannot change what you do not know, and you do not know what you do not track. So what does this mean? It means we have to write everything down. We have to track. Even if it's just as simple as a little daily, one little tiny spiral, and you keep your numbers or your progress, you keep it in there so that you can see it in front of your face. Numbers do not lie. Okay, you can do it on your smartphone if you want to. You can do it on a piece of paper. You can do it on a note by your bed. I don't care. but make sure that you're writing it down so that you can keep it in front of you at all times. So I'll give you an example. When I had goals that were specific to, let's say, a sales business that I did for a number of years, okay? I was constantly looking at my numbers. Was I making the daily calls? Was I doing the work? Was I holding the appointments? Was I getting in front of enough people? Okay, so I could be in my head a lot and think that I was doing the proper work to build this business. But the reality is that I was thinking about it all day and actually doing very little. So when I started writing it down, what gets tracked grows. So the same thing is true with your diet. If you're writing down what you're eating, and most people are shocked, literally shocked, the first time they start writing down their daily diary of their food because they didn't realize they were eating so much. The other thing that happens is when you start writing it down, you gotta be honest with yourself. You can't sneak another 4 cookies if you have to write it down. So when you're writing it down, you also start eating less because you don't want to have to look at how ugly it is on the paper, that's actually the amount of food that you've been eating. I know it was a shocker for me. Okay, so write it down. Right now, I am on about day 190, I believe, maybe 195. I called it a year worth tracking. So I've been tracking meticulously everything that I do in every area of my life for 365 days. And I'm gonna go back at the end and look at the massive progress just simply from the act of being meticulous with writing it down. And the reason that I chose to do it in a new and different way this year is because rather than just focusing on one area at the neglect of all the others, I wanted to see if it was possible to actually raise the bar on all 8 lanes of my life at once, just simply by being aware, being present, being cognizant, and just simply making records to keep myself accountable. So I'll keep you posted on that. Like I said, I'm almost 200 days into that, so I'll keep you posted on that very soon. Okay, and last but not least, tip number 5 to help make sure that we can accomplish our 2020 goals is it needs to be in your face daily. In your face. In your face daily. Literally, I used to have a mentor and she said, if the UPS man doesn't know your goal just by ringing your front doorbell and opening the door to deliver your packages, because I am an Amazon Prime addict. I do everything on Amazon. I hate going to the store. So if the UPS guy or girl that's delivering my packages all the time, if they can't see and know my goals, then it means I am not sharing them enough. They are not loud enough. They are not all over the place enough. Okay, that's how in your face they need to be. So they need to be visual. On your walls, on your door. When I am going through really intense seasons of kicking to a new threshold, then I will have, there were times where back in the days when I had a TV in my house, I would literally put a sign I would make a sign and it would hang down over the TV screen and it would say, is what I'm about to do getting me closer to my goals? And I literally had to move that sign up and out of the way to be able to see the TV. I had them on the light switches, so every time I would turn the light on or off, I had them in the sun visor and hanging from the rear view mirror of my car. I had them on the ceiling, so when I would lay down in bed at night, it would be the last thing that I would see before I would turn off the lamp. I would have them at eye level on the toilet. Y'all, no joke, I had them everywhere, on my phone, everywhere. These goals were written and posted, because when it becomes real in our mind, then our subconscious world goes to work and the universe will stop at nothing to bring it to fruition in our life. You know why? Because the subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So that is how real it has to become. We have to literally be able to recalibrate our body chemistry and our body energy so that we can feel the emotion of these dreams existing before they are made manifest in our reality. And when we can develop that skill, you, my friend, become unstoppable. It's no joke. Our thoughts are like magic. So if we think about it, then it comes out through our mouth. When we speak about it, it becomes reality. Thoughts, words, action. That's the order. So we want to reverse engineer it. If we want to see it in our physical space, we have to talk about it, which means we have to first have the seed of it really taking root in our mind. Okay, the other ways that you do this, of course, are through goal posters, vision boards, affirmations, recording it and listening to it over and over again. Making sure that it's the last thing that you're thinking about at night and the first thing that you're waking up and reviewing in your mind in the morning. And, there's a lot of talk about gratitude and being in a state of gratitude. And, there is actually neurological proof. Modern science today proves from metaphysics and from neuroscience and from all of these different fields of science coming together, and that are really able to now dissect the brain, to dissect our thoughts, to dissect the subconscious and our energy. And what are they finding? What they're finding is that all these things we heard about in the past that all seemed airy-fairy up until now, they're actually now being proven true by science. So, for example, the energy frequency of gratitude is the exact same energy frequency of receptivity. So, in other words, the more we are thankful, the more we receive. The more we say thank you for the blessings we already have, the more God is going to continue to bestow more and more and more and more blessings upon us and into our lives. So it's very, very important that we stop and we focus on gratitude for the things that we have, and gratitude for the things that are coming our way. And also gratitude for the things that we don't have, because it's understanding that God knows exactly what we need, even when sometimes we don't see it. So being thankful that there is someone bigger than us, outside of us, that can see the bigger picture, that has our back. Okay? So the last thing that I will tell you about this piece of making it real in your life, is that gratitude isn't just like this trick that we can use to help us get what we want, but it's also a key to our own inner happiness. And that's really what we want to make sure that we keep our eye on the whole time, is we never lose sight of the fact that our world is perfect as it is today. Everything is perfect exactly as it is right now. So it's very important that we stop and we appreciate where we're holding. We appreciate the lessons that we're learning. We appreciate all of the good that's in our life, and we enjoy the journey. Now, this is sometimes a tough balancing act of making sure that we don't settle for complacency, we don't become complacent, but we also don't lose track of all the things that we do have to be grateful for. So we want to keep pushing to become stronger. I'm a big believer that as long as God has us alive on this planet, there is more for us to do and more for us to learn. So we still have a job to do, but we don't want to lose sight of where we're holding, of all of the good, all of the joy, all of the amazing gifts in our life. So we want to enjoy the journey while we continue to strive for excellence and to push past our past limitations, to pursue our best effort of ourselves, and to really step into the superpower abilities that God gave each and every one of us. And that's something that I have really come to fully appreciate over the last couple of years, is that being human is in fact super. We all have the ability to be superhuman, simply by making the decision to continue to push past our limits, never settling for where we were yesterday. The old saying that yesterday's home run doesn't win today's baseball game. So we've got to keep pushing, keep moving forward, keep evolving, keep growing, keep seeing what's left inside of us, keep finding our best and becoming that person daily on the inside and sharing it with the outside world. I love you guys. I am so excited for 2020, and I'm so grateful that we are able to be on this journey together. Love you guys. If you like this video, if you like what we had to share, please give it a like, leave me a comment. I'd love to see where your head is so that I can know how to best support you in the future. Bye for now.